Welcome to the No Ideas original podcast featuring Shannon and Mr. Rob. Yo,
Peace.
we got a dope episode for y'all.
Nice.
A real dope episode for y'all. So, yo, it's my pleasure and honor to bring to the platform lyricist extraordinaire, Queensbridge MC,
Finest.
Mr. Ultimate High, aka 98 Nate. Nate, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Yo, what's good?
Salute, man. Salute. Hey, yo, appreciate you agreeing to do this. I know we had to move things around a little bit, but yo, here we are. We made it happen. So thank you, man.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah, we had a number of different people from the bridge on the show. We had Iman, we had V12, we had Chalice, we had Nation, we had a couple of different people come on. And one of the things that I asked them is Traj, yep, we had Traj too.
Too.
There's so much talent in Queensbridge. How difficult is it to stand out as an MC?
For me, it wasn't ever difficult. I mean, you know, everybody got their own little sound and their own little thing. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I always was that type of a person myself to not really be a follower. I don't really know, you know what I'm saying? I just always did what my heart told me to do. I didn't know if I was a standout or not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not until later till people start to hear and they start to make comparisons and their own little things, but nah. I never did it like that. I just always was inspired by some of the dope artists that came out before me and around the same time, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The reason why I say stand out is because in the hood, I'm sure everybody was rhyming, right? But everybody ain't get the notoriety associated with it, so it had to be something. But I mean, obviously the talent and the lyricism, but you know, there has to be some distinction.
Not everybody was rapping though. You know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with the hood, you know the hood is divided into 6 blocks.
6 blocks, 96 buildings. Jesus.
The people that 96 buildings. The people that actually came out that was like successful, like let's say a Nas or a Mobb Deep, the people that was affiliated with them kind of automatically start rapping too. You know what I'm saying? You start getting, you know, the I don't want to say like the offsprings, but you get like the crews of the famous people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And only Nas was like a guy that, you know, like for instance, Mobb Deep had their own sound. They came out before Nas. They was instrumental in bringing the hood back to life, so to speak. And so once they started becoming successful, a lot of the guys around them started wanting to become rappers too. And you could kind of hear the sounds of who's kind of closer to whom and stuff like that. So for me, it was always lyricists. It was always just, you know, there's so many dudes that I knew that could actually spit that didn't never intend to make a record because they was caught up in the street life or sports or, you know, it was just something, just a camaraderie between us. Like let me try to outdo the guys from across the street. It wasn't really, I didn't really know who was listening at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I tell you, man.
Know that I could really rap. You had to know me to know that I could rap because I was never outside rapping like some of the other people. You had to like be in the inner circle to be like, yo, he's one of them guys.
Yeah. It was crazy, man, because we like you said, we talked to so many brothers from QB. I'm like, what the hell is in the water, man? Is it the bodega across the street? You got the right cheese or something? Like, all these guys is lyricists. But for you specifically, Nate, what fascinates you about rhyming?
What fascinates me to do what?
What fascinates you most about rhyming, about emceeing?
Just to be able to control the crowd. Like some of my earliest moments of being around hip hop and being from Queensbridge is these infamous park jams that we used to have. And so some of my first experiences with rap was live on stage was, you know, these guys that was just spitting bars and they control the crowd. You know what I'm saying? My thing was hip hop was, I still didn't know. I still was like slash breakdancer slash rapper slash graffiti artist.
Right. You
I didn't
tagging.
lean in no one direction. You know? Yeah, everything. But I
Mhm.
knew something about it was something about them words though. Once you say the right words over the right type of a thing, that they was with you.
Right.
So
You kind of cut your teeth and made your name on the mixtape circuit, and that's how that's how you really took off, and kind of became that dude. What was it like transitioning from freestyles on a mixtape to the next thing you know, you're responsible for coming up with full songs with hooks, bridges, and concepts? And
Counting balls.
I asked you this because around the same time you was doing it, there were other people. Like I think of a Cannabis. To me, Cannabis was crazy ill, but his transition when it came to actually making records, his transition wasn't really that great. Like it didn't translate well to the actual music he made. So what was it like for
I
you
mean, yeah,
making
that's
that
how.
transition?
For me, the mixtape era was always dope because I didn't have to necessarily give him a full record. I didn't necessarily have to give him my record. I could just rap over a popular instrumental or something
Mhm.
that, you know what I'm saying, something that I think
Right.
that's gonna fit my, you know what I mean. I could hand pick it as opposed to making records. When I started making records, I was blessed to have a bunch of real producers around me that kind of understood what it takes to make a record and not
Right.
just spit a dope rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
these guys was kind of responsible for the music part of it. I didn't know I didn't know the sound that I wanted. I didn't really know anything. I just know if it sounded dope, you know, it hit
That's what
home.
it was.
And I had a team of producers that was just working and trying to groom me the same way that, you know, they was working with like big name acts. They was working with Nas. They was working with, you know, I'm talking about the track masters. If you know,
Track masters, right?
I'm familiar with my history.
Mm.
Yeah, so they were already into making big records. They were already into making these powerhouse records that I thought would be dope, but I didn't have. I felt that some of the records were too polished for me. I still didn't say everything that I needed to say. I'm still living in the hood. Some of my
Right.
content was a little bit rawer than what they was used to. So it was a battle just learning how to just make records. You know what I'm saying? As
Right.
far as not just from what I wanted to hear, but
Yeah.
from what everybody needed to hear. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That,
But
that
You know
had
what
to
I'm
been.
saying?
Yeah. That had to been an experience. Because track masters and they was putting out some
There had to
dope,
have been a
dope
what?
music. So that had to been an experience to be in that environment where you're not just writing rhymes. Now you're constructing songs now.
mhm.
You're counting bars and you're
Yeah.
making hooks. Where's the bridge come in? All these different things. You know what I'm saying? Versus, just spitting around. But I want
Right.
to go back to the Clue era just a little bit too, and ask you, was there real competition in them Clue battles or on them Clue tapes? And if it were, do you think creativity cancels competition, or does competition cancel creativity?
Mm, I think they go hand in hand. I think they go hand in hand because, like, for me to have been brought into the game by one of the best, it's always gonna be creativity. Kind of was in the front running for me because these guys was just creative to me. These guys was just making dope records. You know what I'm saying? Um, if you ever, if you're fortunate to have heard like a Nas rhyme back in the days, it didn't sound like nobody else's rhyme. It just sounded like he was pushing his pen and he was just
Absolutely.
going. So I followed that lean, that whole pattern of doing things. But and within us just making music and trying to be creative, we're always gonna have that camaraderie and try to outdo each other and try to, you know what I'm saying? Go in different places and stuff, like go in different lanes that we feel the other one might not be able to go in, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I agree with you. I think sometimes competition fuels creativity and makes someone go back and rewrite their rhyme if they heard like, oh shit, hold on.
You just heard
Did he
that?
just say
Damn,
that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, Nate, it was
So
something.
can you imagine, like, coming from the hood and you having guys that they're getting their flowers, and you're watching these guys, like you get the Mobb Deeps, you get the Prodigies, you get the Nas's, you get the Tragedy Gaddafi's. You got guys that was always spitters. You know what I'm saying? And they all kind of complement each other in some way, shape, or fashion. So I just kind of like followed them because they was doing it before me. They kind of made it easier for me to kind of do what I do.
As they say, a product of your environment, yo.
So Nate, I wanna go back for a second because you was talking about like working with track masters and everything. You know, you scorching hot off of the Clue tapes. How difficult was it to be coachable? To actually take that feedback to get to the point where you're like, all right, now I got to develop it.
Very difficult. Very difficult because this is pre-internet days where you didn't have to have everything. You just focusing on being heard. But now when they're trying to help me create an image and trying to bring it to the masses, you know, it was a lot of pulling. There was a lot of fighting with that one because I didn't feel the direction they wanted me to go in. That is who I was. Like I said, these guys were becoming rich. These guys were becoming influential. And once I finished with making music with these guys or leaving meetings, I'm going back to the hood. And my guys that didn't, you know, they wouldn't appreciate me in some of those lights that they was trying to put me in. They didn't really.
It wasn't talking that corporate talk.
I mean, I didn't experience nothing. I was in the hood. I was fresh from being locked up. A lot of my experiences weren't necessarily about me, but everything that was around me was appearing in my rhymes, and some of that stuff they were way past that at that time. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, all my friends, you know, I got friends that's doing bids and I got friends that's on the corners and all of that. So when I rap and I'm doing stuff, I'm really talking to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm really talking to the people that live like me, the people I can't really rap about fantasy stuff that I don't live. I don't jump out of Lamborghinis. I don't do that. I rap about the neighbors and me and, you know, real life situations. So you can see the reality in the rap. You see the similarities of something you might have went through or shit like that.
You can relate.
Those are the people that I was trying to reach, not the ballers, not the. So we stayed away from the calling out the names of stuff. We started staying away from it and trying to keep it simple. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess in retrospect, how do you marry those two things, right? Like the person who is a product of their environment and they a raw talent, and then you bring along the track master, because the track master's on fire too, from Nas to Mary, Will Smith, whoever it was, everything they touched, they was out of here with, right? So I think part of that is like that's like the lore where they feel like because we the track masters, people should buy into whatever it is that we say because we've demonstrated success with it. You know, but I could put myself in your shoes and be like, wait a minute, the stuff that I did have gotten me to this point. So I'm just wondering from your perspective, again, like in retrospect, like how could that have been married and when came together better, I guess?
I don't think that it really could have. I think that's just the way it was. I was like you just said, like the mixtapes was the way for me to get to the people. I don't think they really knew everything that I had to offer. Nobody really knows how nice a person is until they actually get to, you know, make an album and do stuff like that. So it's real easy to float on top when all I have to do is deliver maybe one dope ass verse every month on a mixtape, where I'm not having to, I don't have to do a whole album or a whole real record. So it's just like I'm feeding you, feeding you. You know what I'm saying? And so with them, they didn't really know, because like I said, like we just said, they was beyond that. They're getting the big checks, they doing stuff like that. I didn't even know how many people was actually listening to these mixtapes, because I'm still a fan.
SoundScan wasn't picking up that
I'm
stuff,
still
right?
a fan. I'm still a fan. Only way I see in these mixtapes is on Jamaica Avenue, when I'm still going to see my PO. You know, I'm still fresh from being locked up. I still have a PO. So when I'm doing my visits to my PO, I'm a couple doors down. There's the music place where they got the mixtapes with the little binders with the track lists for every mixtape that's out. And so I'm still buying them according to the names. 1 or 2 names is all it takes for me to spend my own money to go buy a mixtape. All I have to turn back and see, oh, it's a new song from such and such, because I'm a fan myself. So, but I didn't realize people were doing that because I was on the tape. I didn't realize that, you know, the same things was happening. I'm just still being a fan. I have yet to really, I don't see no profits from none of these mixtapes, so I don't know what they're selling. I don't know who's listening. I just know I like to listen, so I'm buying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I always had
that sad shit right there,
being, you know what I'm saying? And so when it switched from tapes and CDs, mixtapes to DVDs and stuff like that, I always wanted to buy and see and be aware of what's happening out there and who's dope. And so, but it didn't change what I was doing. But I'm still a fan. I've always been a fan. You know what I'm saying?
Son, but with a name like Nature, you had niggas' heads turning like, who's that? Hold on, son. Then he get spit too?
Yeah, I mean, with that, it's like just trying to keep it as pure as possible, because with that, you don't know if it's a man, if it's a woman, if it's a white guy, if it's a hood guy, if it's a free spirit.
It's universal, like.
Yeah, so I just try to keep it like that and just let it roll.
Let me ask you this: with hip hop reaching its 50th anniversary, which is a milestone, tell me what you think about that. And secondly, from your perspective, what do you think QB's legacy looks like in the industry?
Well, the first part, I think it's crazy that 50 years is real. It's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to it being around for the next 50 or the next 100 or whatever. I think that.
And mind you, listen, we were babies. We were babies. You were born in 72 like myself, so we just hit that mark. We hit that good mark, that good 50 cent piece. And I look at it like, and not to cut your wisdom, but I actually birthed into it. You know what I'm saying? As I was growing up, I remember hearing the beats off of the handball courts and banging off of project buildings. But the jam was so fucking far away. Like, damn, that's music right there. And that's what you kind of seen where everyone was going. Like there was a parade down there, something, and that's where it was going. So for it to reach 50 years.
I mean, for it to last this long, you got to remember the majority of the people that's in this genre of music don't play instruments, don't do none of that stuff. So our vocals was carrying the culture. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
right.
In this 50 years, we got different kind of, it's not just straight hip hop anymore. We got different kind of sectioned off. You know what I'm saying? You got drill. You got
it's varieties,
different parts of rap that. So I like the fact that it's evolving into that until that it's more and more people have the opportunity to get involved into it, because at first we used to turn our nose to anybody that wasn't from the hood. You know what I'm saying? This was our thing.
Right.
This was,
We
you know
held
what I'm
on
saying? We
to it.
felt
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo,
This is our baby.
if you had a house already, and nah, you ain't real. You can't be real. Nah, you know,
That's a fact.
you ain't struggling. You know, so because that was the early rap. Like, you know, you're either gonna big yourself up or you're gonna talk about what's around you. So, and most of the things around us was people were struggling. The only thing I don't like about it is it needs to be more of the OGs, letting them know that this is, you know, this is a business and stuff like that. Like
Right.
the influence of it has become so crazy that some of these guys don't live by, you know, they believe these words that we're saying, and it's they trying to like actually live them, and you know they people are dying, and it's a little
Right.
bit crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Art
It's
is
a little bit
imitating
crazy.
reality a little too much.
Yeah, and so it's like no middle ground. It's like these guys are just you either big or you little. You know what I'm saying? There's no people in the middle. The people in the middle get overlooked. You know what I'm saying? So it's like right now you got people are chasing, you know, this material lifestyle and this money, and it's cool, but in reality everybody's just not going to make it like that. Everybody's not
That's
going to
right.
be rich. Everybody's not going to have this lifestyle. So you have to prepare yourself for reality, and I just wish that it was more, because there's still a lot of people out there that's speaking messages in their music. I just
Right.
wish that it was a way that some of these people can get it easier. You know what I'm saying? Because you turn on the
Right.
radio, it's big business. You're only going to hear certain records, but some of those records that need to be played and be heard, they just need to find a way to get behind them a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's why I appreciate artists like a Nas who brought me in, because it's like a
Right.
breath of fresh air to the game. They don't come out every year. They don't come out with a new song every month. But when they do come out, it's it's a reminder that it's not just a young man's game. It's a you know, you can still thrive as you're getting older. You can still
Sisters is getting into it. There's some dope sisters out there
you can
spitting.
you can create a business around your music. It's
Right.
definitely people out there, and it's definitely the right ways to do things. But it just seems like, you know, they love the negativity. The negativity, the drama is always gonna sell. It's always gonna be, you know what I'm saying?
It always
So
has
now
too. Yeah.
we got Instagram and Facebook and social media, and there's ways to keep your finger on the pulse faster for these new people than there was for us.
That's a
For us,
fact.
all we had was like a Source magazine every month that you would just
Yeah.
open up and see what it was, and
We had the slow
you know what
cook,
I'm saying?
yo. We had the
Yeah.
slow cook.
So right now everything is just times 10 with these guys, and and it's cool, but I just needs to be more people to kind of like, they got to find a way to make the message
Kind of
seem a
slow
little
it
bit
down.
more cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
you know.
and the QB legacy. What do you think, Rob? I think that was Rob's other question. Your
Yeah.
thoughts on QB's legacy.
Your perspective of QB.
QB legacy is gonna always be at the top of
Yes, sir.
the top for me, because it just seemed like we was just a step ahead of some of these people that's doing it now, and the way that the cultures just exploded. It just seemed that the bug was in us a little bit earlier, so we had to jump on some of these people. You know what I'm saying? And it just seemed like, and it just seemed like so much was happening within this 6 blocks. You know, it was like our own borough compared to
Yes, in your own city.
all of the things that's going on. Yeah, so we all was like working hard, and it was just seemed like it was a million rappers coming out the hood. You know, making their own language up, bringing their own flavors to the game,
Wow.
connecting with, you got Mobb Deep coming out at the same time as Wu-Tang, and it just seemed like the game was it was a little bit more love. You know what I'm saying? It just seemed like it was a little bit more love, and the guys that was doing it in the bridge was just doing it on a higher level
Right.
collectively. So it's not just
Right.
one person. It just seemed like everybody was just like, over here you got Mobb Deep, over here you got Capone and Noriega, over there you got Nature, over there you got Cormega, and the list goes on. And for every generation, it was always somebody there. So
Right.
it's not like we
Right.
started it. They started it before us. It died down for a
Marley's,
little bit,
the
and then the new
Shans.
generation came back.
Yeah. Yo, so Nate,
So
you
you know, when
became.
you mix that,
Yeah, again. I'm sorry. Go
okay.
ahead. Now,
No,
go ahead.
I'm
Finish
just
what you
saying,
said.
that's just how eventually it just became what it is. And I didn't, like I said before, we didn't realize on a global scale how much of the world was watching us. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
bro.
So it looked like
Yeah.
but we still had our flaws. It still was never a Queensbridge tour. You know, we still never got along with each other. But
Right.
for the world, that music was just like, man, like it's not like you could
What the
tell it
hell is
was
coming out of
genuine. It wasn't a
Queensbridge? What
clone.
water y'all drinking? Who's making the food over there? And a lot of times, Sha would say he likens Queensbridge to Shaolin because of the pedigree and the MCs and
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that comes out of these environments. You know what I mean? Like I said, you're a product of your environment. So
I think these guys were so dope with the pen that they just brought it to life. You could kind of see it. You could feel it.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And they're talking about that inner city life like nobody else was really talking about it at that time. Everybody
sure.
else was like, you know, it went from, you know, it was we went through the De La Soul, we went through the eras of rap that was like, even though they still meant something to us, but it was still for some people wasn't, you couldn't picture it. You couldn't, it was dope.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
Too
but it
metaphoric.
loses this transition because it didn't seem like it was like real, like, you know what I'm
You can
saying?
Yeah.
touch it. Yeah, tangible
until you
shit.
heard until you heard like shook ones, and you heard it sound like the stove coming
Mm-hmm.
on the shook ones, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, wait a minute,
I
that's the
know that
sound I
sound.
know. Yeah, I know that sound. So I'm just trying to put real shit in there,
Or
man.
yo, Nate, you had the
What's up?
distinction of coming in at a time and joining the firm. Yo, that's an opportunity that probably several already established MCs would have loved to have. What was it like being a part of that process and making that album?
The album, that whole process was crazy because I wasn't, you know, it's documented. I wasn't an original member of the
Right,
firm. You know what I'm saying? I got called in because of, you know the story. At the
right.
last minute, you know, people had these contracts and they had to deliver this album, and in the last minute, internally, things exploded. So
Mm.
now, being that I'm an affiliate of the firm because I'm still tied in with Nas and these mixtapes, but to have to be called in to do it, I don't know. It was dope for me because it's my first experiences getting out of going to the West Coast, vibing with some of these people that, especially Dr. Dre, somebody like I just told you, I was a rap fan. So anybody to get to have the opportunity to work with these individuals while still living in the hood is like a dream come true. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? But
right.
I have yet to make any money behind it until it was time for the firm to be signed and these contracts. And, you know, now it's like, wait a minute, because I just went from the mixtapes and now I'm signing contracts and now I'm able to do a couple things. So I just appreciated it was just hard to you know, if I wasn't a guy that was in the hood that was like always on Front Street, like a person that's selling drugs, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people that's out there living that life and that's probably trying to say, ask, why him and not me? Why?
Mm.
Always.
How did
That's
he
always the case.
get on and not me? He's not like this. I'm like this. So it created a love hate thing because when we did like the firm, Nas had already moved out of the projects.
Mm.
So
Right.
it's a lot of people that, you know, you can't really get to Nas. And it's still this kind of confusion as far as Cormega and Nature and blah blah blah. So for a minute it looked like we were beefing and it looked like we were at odds,
Dismantled
but
a little bit.
we never.
Yeah.
It was never really personal. Yeah, it created a good vibe because put money in my pocket. It put my name into the pot. You know what I'm saying? Where people are actually
Right.
checking and listening and stuff. So but internally in the hood, it's kind of disrupted things because it kind of put people at odds. It couldn't put people that's not supposed to be at odds, and we look like we fighting over this spot, and it just looked crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It got a little bit messy. It got a little bit messy. But for the most part, things, that was short lived. You know what I mean? We still vibe. We still who we are. We still respect each other's the pen game and the craft like that. So it's cool. But in the beginning, it was kind of like awkward because I'm not known for being that guy, and so for me to have the guys that used to be the hustlers and all that now asking me for jobs and asking me to, yo, can I do
Wow.
security for you? It's just creating this dynamic
You're getting
because
all these requests now, huh?
Nas is already up here. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He doesn't really, it's just weird. But
Right.
on a musical level, I appreciated it all because now it put me with guys that was really established and they
Yeah.
really getting to see my talent. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to write these rhymes in front of them and let them know that, nah, bro, we could do this. And so to them, to guys like Dr. Dre, it's like, wow, you got another one from Queensbridge? Damn, where the hell did
Yeah,
niggas
son.
making these guys? So it was cool, and I was riding the wave with it because I'm coming. I still got to report to my PO, so there's still a lot of people that was like, "Holy smack, he was just in jail with me. Now he's in the video, and he's this and he's that." So I'm just watching how it affects other people because
Mhm.
Progression.
I'm still a humble, down to earth guy, but it's just amazing to see how other people are
The
affected by
effect.
this shit right here, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow.
You know, let
Yeah.
me let me say this, Nate, because like my impression, you haven't been around you now also, is that you give off to me almost like an air of a person who is not enamored with like fame. Like you don't seem like the type that's like, yeah, I don't, I could really do without the fame or whatever. I just want to do what I came to do. Like I appreciate the
I mean,
craft and the
at the
art.
end of the day, people you always gonna you love when somebody appreciates what you do, especially if
Mhm.
you take the time out to really,
Put it
put
together.
some kind of effort into it, right?
Right.
But that stuff don't matter to me. That stuff never mattered to me because, for one, I never really viewed myself as a rapper. It was more like a personal thing to me to say, "Oh, I could do it too. Oh, y'all could do it. I could do it too. Watch, this is my version of what y'all do."
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Right.
so I didn't know that. I didn't have a demo tape. I didn't audition for the firm. I didn't do all of this. This is my first time actually people starting to acknowledge what I'm doing, and I'm loving it on a mixtape level because a lot of these people don't know what I look like. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
That's
I'm
exactly
still
what
running around. I'm still running around, and I can hear people's honest opinion of who nature is because they don't,
Mhm.
they could be talking to
Yeah.
me and not even know that it's me. You
Mhm.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's cool from from that. Like, all right, cool, you're getting exposed. So anytime somebody stops me and tell me, whether it be a white person, black person from the other end of the globe telling me, yo, you got me through college, bro, or yo, you got me through this. And I'd be like, wow, I didn't even think you would be listening. Now you're a
Mhm.
lawyer and you used to play nature in the firm. Oh my God. So
Yeah.
anytime I meet people like that, I always feel appreciative. But while I was going through it and I was living it, I never really cared. I don't care about
Yeah.
none of that stuff. You
Let
know
me
what I'm
Right.
saying?
and I
Some
want to
people them some people that's all they have, so they're gonna try to do whatever. Me, um, I just always wanted the respect from my peers.
there you
Period.
go.
That's all I cared for.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say. Like I think that what happens a lot of time is like, well, two things. One, for some reason, with the environment we come from in the hood, it's like there's almost like this assumption that there's this natural pecking order in terms of who's next. And sometimes when that person that people deem to be who's next is not next, somebody else comes along,
Things
you
of
know,
controversy.
there's controversy and there's feelings around, well, this person skipped their turn in line and superseded whoever was supposed to be next, kind of thing. And it brings up feelings in the hood around it. Instead of us just thinking from the perspective of like, yo,
Well,
we all can get there, even though our journey is different.
People are gonna feel like that. People are gonna feel entitled. People are gonna feel all kind of ways. But when it came down to making the music, right? Like I just told you, I'm not outside selling drugs, and I'm not doing some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Maybe for a time it was before it caused me to go to jail and stuff like that. But now after I'm coming home, and it's like these guys is making me do this music, and they offer me contracts and stuff like that. It's a big turnaround for me, right?
Right.
It's a big turnaround for my life and everything like that. But when it came down to making the music, I started realizing that my music is my content is a little bit different because some of these guys haven't experienced anything. You know what I'm saying? They didn't experience anything. So, and some people's vocabulary, it let me know that I just didn't want to ever sound dumb on a microphone. I'm not a graduate or none of that stuff. So, but I kind of figured out that if I stayed on one situation, like let's say street situation, if I stayed on one situation too long, it's gonna be guys that's gonna come pick it apart and say, no, he don't do that, he don't live like that. But now if I'm showing them intelligence mixed with street shit, mixed with my own way of kicking it, you can't do what I do now.
Yeah.
Now I
Talk
left you
about
back
Nate.
there because you can only stay back there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it had to be something like, I don't know. I did for some reason. The vocabulary was always good. The mannerisms was always there, and
I'm
the
gonna be a
approach
little
was always
biased.
different.
Be a little biased, and the reason I'm being biased because
All
I love my Sagittarius MCs. I love Nate. I love
right.
Styles P. I love Jigga. You know what I'm saying? These guys, they know what to say when to say it, and they put it down. And I respect that because a lot of times you got to break the monotony from what you regularly do. You can't talk about drugs all goddamn day. You know what I'm saying? That's why I
No, not at
appreciate
all.
your joint, Newports and Cools. Who the fuck thinks of that? You know what I'm saying? Newports
Man,
and Cools, my nigga. That's the dopest shit I've heard. Come on, bro. I rock that religiously. And I want to ask you this too, because we've had the privilege to watch you listen to something, get in your zone, and pen something real nice. And I'm grateful for that. And you've had the illustrious opportunity to work with producers like Dre. But what producer do you vibe with most? Like you sit and you be like, you know what? Every time I sit in this seat with this man or whatever individual, whoever, I'm putting out my best work.
I don't know, because I still wouldn't know what my best work is. I think some of the best things that I ever probably wrote in some of the zones that I got in the records were never really pushed like that. They might have just been in the middle of an album cuts and stuff like that.
Right.
I don't really have a specific favorite now. As back in the days, I probably had my dream list of
Right.
producers that I wanted to work with and stuff like that. Like right now, I'm like in the mix of trying to find a sound that really fits where I'm going, because
Yeah.
after a while you start getting comfortable, right? I don't really want to make a lot of records that all sound the same, or that kind of like that don't show any growth. But I
Absolutely.
also know how to give it to them in that fashion as well. So
Right.
the only thing that makes it harder for me is the reality. Like now, I got my kids is older. you know, my approach is different. Like, so they'd be like, damn, that's not my dad. You know what I'm saying? They can listen to him. They'd be like, that's not this guy that's right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm just trying to find something that still allows me to be me, but not
That
really
middle ground.
I don't want. Yeah, I'm not the old man, but I gotta let them know that, you know, I've seen some things, and I'm more focused on just that fine line of you know, it's never really all about me. If you ever listen to the Nature Rhymes, it's never all about. I don't really just have a bragging style of rap. It's just different. You know what I'm saying?
Experience. You got like an experience style. I'm gonna give you a little bit of my story, what I've been through.
Yeah, but it's always little bits and pieces of it. It's never really a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's never really a lot. But it's just that's what makes me now. That makes me sound a little bit different than everybody else around me. That makes me sound different than my peers. But just trying to make music, because now we got music. We got guys like Drake, and they got guys that's just like running the radio. You know what I'm saying? My ultimate goal is just to make a record that's just gonna still play for 5 and 10 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So some of those dope ass rhymes, even though they might sound dope for right now, they might not have that staying power. Like, who
And
wouldn't want to
longevity.
get an award? Who wouldn't want to be, you know, rise to the occasion like that? So that's for the most part. That's it.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you would talk about, like, you know, like still having the experience of tasting the success, but still living in the hood. Because one of the questions I have for you, and I feel like you may have already answered it, was, do you feel like you tasted success too soon? And I asked that because I think
Good
that,
question,
again,
son.
like where we come from, you know, we for some reason we're not prepared for success. It's like, yo, one day we in one position, the next day we just thrust into something different, whether it be, you know, it's the rhyme that
I
hit and
never
get you
felt
going.
that. I never felt that I was successful. I just
Okay,
felt
see,
that
that's interesting in itself, because, yo,
I never.
success, and I tell people also, success is
Yeah,
about
because people
perspective.
view it a little bit different and
Exactly.
stuff like that. I just felt that maybe I was on to something, because every move that I had to make in the music business was probably a reaction to something else. You know what I'm saying? I never had a straight path of saying, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make these demos, I'm gonna shop these songs. You know, I was fortunate enough to know people that was doing it. I was fortunate enough to be in situations where they're able to see my creativity.
Right.
I was fortunate enough to make some money, but at the end of the day, it was not enough to like take care of generations of my family and stuff like that. I'm still, like I said, to have the respect of my peers after 20 years is still something that you can't buy that. I'm appreciative of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm
As you should be,
appreciative
no
of all
doubt.
that stuff. But you know, I'm still outside of the music business. I still got to do what I got to do to take care of my family. And so now, if I'm doing what I got to do to take care of my family, I'm giving off a different picture to some of the people that's around me in the hood. Like, yo, you can still be recognized, and that doesn't mean that, you know, your life is complete. You know what I mean? You still got to put in work. You still got to get up. You still got to sacrifice. You still got to do that. So, and I still live like that. So it's not like I don't feel like I've totally made it over the mountain. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I put in a lot of work early enough, whereas people would understand what I was doing. People were still following me. People are still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
You're
really it.
still traveling, Lord. That's what it is,
That's how
man.
I call it.
It's just weird because like you guys you watch basketball.
Of
Yes,
course.
sir.
All right, so let's say you got somebody like LeBron James, right? Somebody that's at the top of the game. Everybody's watching them. They regarded as, you know, one of the GOATs in the game. But then all of a sudden, while you still focusing on this, something else another player comes into the team and becomes his own, you know, his own GOAT.
caliber
You know what I'm
person.
saying? You got the Kyrie, you got the, you know what I'm saying? So it's enough room for people to do a lot of shit in this game. You know what I'm saying? And
That's right.
like I said, for me, I came in the game with people that was already at their highest, so it allowed me to kind of move in a different space and allow me to view it a little bit different, as opposed to trying to be the first one. I don't know if I would have still had the ambition if I had to be the first one. Things were happening around me, and this happened because of that, and this happened because of that, and he signed the deal because of that. You know what I'm saying? And it just happened fast. So maybe to answer your question, things happened kind of fast, but there was no blueprint as to how long this was going to last or what was going on. So I was just riding the wave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know
I didn't
something though,
know.
but
I
I
didn't know
respect
my
that.
guys were going to be household names. I didn't know my guys were going to
For
be.
real.
Yeah, I
Now,
didn't know none of that.
I respect that though, because I think that there are a lot of people in particular from from your era that I think that the music defines who they are as a person. And listening to you talk, it's like, yeah, I do music, but there are other things that I have going on in life. Like music doesn't define you. I listen to you just now talk about like, like I got my kids, I got my life outside of this and everything. And that to me is important, because I think that there are a lot of people stuck in the fact that, almost like you said, like their trajectory was like they was to the mountain. They may not have necessarily got over the mountain, but what I think people don't realize is that if you think about it and you look at the music industry, how many people actually have gotten over that mountain? Like there are more people that are right there
Well,
and don't get over it than actually people
it
that
seems
are.
like with everything being broadcasted and all of these, companies being started, it's a lot more money that's circulating in the music business, right? So the sad part is you might have these guys, I might have all of this information and this knowledge for these people, but if I'm not jumping out of the Lamborghini iced out, that it loses the translation somehow for some of these young people. You know
I
what
see
I'm
what you're
saying?
saying.
But
Yes,
then
sir.
I can walk into any crowd and y'all got, and the people and it could be a bunch of respected MCs, and I could walk into any crowd and looking like I just came from work, looking like I just came from wherever, and it's gonna that respect is gonna be like, oh shit, this nature, holy shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And they
They
paint the
got
picture of it
construction
being
hat
larger
on,
than
son,
life.
and Tim boots.
We got that, but
Yeah,
there's a
so they
saying
gonna
for
be
that:
like,
real recognize real.
they gonna go, oh shit, that's the homie right there. Oh shit. And for different reasons. Either you was listening, or due to the fact that I came into the gate with Nas, and he don't really let a lot of people, he don't pull a lot of people up. He's that guy. So one of the few people that's associated with the top dogs, my name was always gonna stay alive.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's
You're gonna have people
associated
that's
with
gonna
it.
make comparisons to me and him. I hear people that say, yo man, he was giving him a run for his money on his mixtape. Yo
That's a
man,
fact.
he was doing that. So I don't know how he felt about it, but anytime I hear it, I'm like, yeah, that means it's a good thing.
Right.
That means my work is being appreciated.
That's
So
right.
that's really it for me. You know what I'm saying? Now if we can make some bread and we can because I feel like I can rap with anybody. I feel like I can do all of that stuff. But what happens is, as we get older and we kind of still we live in life, I'm not in a lot of those circles.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in a lot of those circles. So some of those opportunities aren't going to be offered to me. They're going to be offered to somebody else that's out there. And, for me, the elder statesman, I can't be walking around the mad rapper. I'm not the mad rapper. I've never
That's
been
right.
that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm the
Don't be
guy
that guy.
I'm the guy that's gonna remind you that there's always somebody out there working. When you think that you on top of your shit, that there's always somebody that you're gonna least expect that could come and knock you on your ass. You know what I'm saying?
How about
Or
that?
if in basketball terms, it's gonna be that the
Cross
rookie
your
that
ass
you
up.
didn't even expect that's gonna come and bust your ass that night. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the guy that's gonna remind them that you better be on point, bro.
Study
I
your
don't care what
craft, young man.
he doesn't fit that mold. You might not think of him as that, but he is that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it goes.
Yo,
Like
Nate,
that old karate guy that you're gonna be like, nah, I can whip his ass. And then he do that move on you and lock your shit up. Like, damn, I ain't even
yo,
think he could do that. You know what I'm saying? That.
yo, I never really knew what transpired between you and Nas, but I never really needed an explanation. And you know why I think I never needed an explanation? Because I feel like, you know, being a fan of the music and a fan of you guys, like looking back and realizing that who you are today and who he is today is different than who you were 20 some years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I kind of feel like that both of you have evolved as people and have grown as people. One thing I did always appreciate was you guys' camaraderie and, like, you know, hearing you on the mixtapes and
Thank God
everything.
we got a chance to watch that grow like that
Yeah,
too, bro.
and the brotherhood and the brotherhood that was sort of associated with it, like that, just that camaraderie and seeing y'all get together.
You
And I
know
but
what's
I
crazy, right? When you think about this game, and you think about anybody that's been in this game for 20 years, right? Anybody that's been in this game for 20 years, how many people are still around the people they were with when they started? So you're
exactly
going through all of these changes. You create, you know, as your success goes up, you gotta build the team around it. You know what I mean? People fall off. Some people, you know what I'm saying? Some people
Yes, sir.
can't really ride like that after 20 years. How many shows can I really just stop everything I'm doing and pack my bag to run on tour with you for 20, you know what I
exactly
mean?
yeah
So
Right.
as we grow up, as we get older, you know, things change. And the only thing about the only I would love to just, you know, we never really patched a lot of things up.
Mhm.
We just left it as it was, due to the fact that it started off as so personal for us. Like, you
Right.
know, guys like that aren't people who I just met in the music industry. These are guys that I've known since I was a kid. So some
Yeah.
of the issues that there's no one undefining issue that you could just say,
Mhm.
oh, just do that, and then it should all be better. You know, after a while, people's pride and not speaking to each other and all of that, you just leave it alone. I don't
Yeah.
consider it beef or nothing. You just leave it alone. It's still love. It's just we moved on.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
moving on to
Yeah.
doing
You know
your
what I'm
own
saying?
thing.
But I just hate the fact that, you know, a lot of people that was kind of gearing for us to do certain things, they, you know, they got shortchanged because
Mhm.
of the politics of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
would wish that they would get a way to kind of put it all together. Like I said, it's never been a official Queensbridge tour. They've never
Mhm.
seen
Right.
us in certain lights. You know, we grew up beefing with each other. So as an adult, it's kind of hard. Some people still hold certain things to heart over things that
Mhm.
might have been said 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And then now
That's a
I'm trying
fact.
to explain it to somebody that wasn't there. It might sound like it's this big, but back then it was that big. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just appreciative to watch my guys still be doing it and still doing it at a high level. That's
Mhm.
that's what's up for me. You know what I'm
And
saying?
time, man, time, yo. That's you know, like when the timing is right, it'll
Strike
all come.
iron.
You know, it'll all come back together, fall in place of how it is. But I just feel like, yo, sometimes people lose sight of that. Like, you know, they look at these things that have transpired years ago and they like, yo, this went on, that, and it's like, yo, these is two brothers that was probably in their early to mid 20s. You
If
know, like
that.
And
early
it's
Maybe
so
mid
earlier.
crazy.
your
And
brain ain't even
like
fully
what
developed, bro.
like what Rob was saying. Um, it's just so crazy because in no other genre of music is it like that. You know what I'm saying? I never heard Michael Jackson was beefing with Lionel Richie. I never
Mhm.
heard. I never heard. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
we viewed as all these
Commodores
guys
was
as giants.
had
We
beef
we,
with the
we,
spinners.
we didn't. Yeah, we didn't hear none of that stuff. These guys went on tour. They did what they did. They make their. I'm
Yeah.
sure that some people didn't like each other and all that.
Yeah.
But with this rap shit, and like I said, nobody really went to school for this shit. Nobody plays instruments. It's pretty much hit
Mhm.
or miss. But some of these young guys with the drill music that just came out of nowhere is a little bit
Mm.
different for us. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these guys is really trying to
Losing
live some of
lives,
the shit
man.
that they're saying and doing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I don't really. I pull away when it comes down to that. I'm not supporting anything that us really destroying each other like that. If it's just music,
Word.
it's cool. If that's how you express yourself, that's cool because that's our thing. But you know, the gangs and
Yeah.
just the shit that the negative shit of it. You know what I'm saying? The shit that and the fact that these people might feel like they got to spend all of their money on you know, to look a certain way, and all these people that don't really give a fuck about us. That's the part
That's
that's
a
like,
fact.
how do we change that? How
Yeah.
do we, you know what I'm saying?
Word. That's a fact.
That's
You
just
know, the other thing I would say is that so like even listening to you talk about like your experience in the industry and having to navigate with whatever it was that was going on in the hood with, and then being coachable by the track masters and all these different things. Like, has your experience, your early experience in the music industry, sort of soured you on the music industry a little bit?
no, not never soured me on the industry. Never soured me on the industry. I was I don't know the right word. This industry ruins friendships. This industry, a lot of the people that I really had genuine love for, like it ruins it because, you know, whether it be the jealousy or just the things, you know what I'm saying? Just
Did
coming
you
from the
say it's
hood,
more misleading than
nobody had.
anything?
It can be,
Right.
it can be, you know what I'm saying? Due to the fact that, you know, a long time ago there was nothing, no precedent before us to, like, we were just basically doing what we
No
wanted to do.
blueprint.
A
Right.
lot of these people kind of like should be able to go back, but you know,
And
I lost a lot of
that goes to
people.
your point you were
I lost
saying
a lot
earlier
of.
about the OGs needing to step up and really get into the ear of some of these young people, because we grew up, we didn't have a blueprint. Brothers had to go out there and they demos, they had to shop they demos, they had to do Insta. There's a lot of things that is happening
I think,
now
I
they
think,
wouldn't do
I
back
think
then.
for me, honestly, the biggest regret I have in all of this shit was never taking a serious more approach as far as having proper management, having building a proper team that's going to actually help me. You know,
Right.
back in the days or in the early days, we don't have no manager. You know, your man is your manager. You know, and
Yeah.
if you have people that aren't people, you know, like I said, I got guys that just only functioned in the hood. They didn't really know how to act once they got into these corporate buildings because either the fact that they couldn't talk right and, you know, they were intimidated to talk, or they felt that every time that a situation didn't go our way, they wanted to result in violence, kind of
Right.
hurt the brand as far as being able to properly plan
Negotiate,
and
plan, right.
execute the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
So
got you.
now, like I said, a lot of things are happening just because something else happened. Oh, Nature's in a situation where he needs money, he needs to pay this, so now he has to. You know, uh, he's not really negotiating for a long period of time with it. But you know what I'm saying? He's not having the right people speak up for him. You know, it's a lot of things like that, and so that will probably be my ultimate regret. But I had fun doing it, and I didn't really know that I was going to make the money that I made or still be relevant 20 years later. Shit, if I had went to school and became just a regular person, of course I might have had the money that I probably would have wanted, but my life would have been dry. I would have probably still been like searching for something that had add more to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would have just whatever. So I'm glad that people seen whatever they seen in me early and gave me a shot. But I just wish that I probably just took it a little bit more serious earlier back then. How was it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting also that you would mention that, because I think a lot of people sort of by default end up having a situation where like their man's is their manager and their security and
Yeah.
all
They
these
putting their
things, like
peoples on.
out of loyalty to the hood. But you know, that's not a sustainable business model. But again, like we don't have the blueprint. We don't know how to do it. We do what we seen other people do, you know, and then
I'm
it's
trying
kind of like
to hold on. I'm trying to hold on. My man, who's becoming successful, is talking this, trying to start a record company. You know what I'm saying? Which at the time we shouting out Ill Will Records, and you know it seems like he's getting people to kind of focus on what he's doing, but the business part of it is not moving fast enough. And I'm
Right.
meaning the fact that I'm trying to be loyal to you, and you're not offering the money at the time, or you're not, you know, something else is happening because I'm
yeah,
still on paper. You're not helping me progress. I have to do whatever is around me. And
yeah,
it just so happens that we're around the same people. So a lot of the issues were internal. A lot of the feelings, a lot of people were suppressed. A lot of feelings were suppressed. A lot of things were just never said because we were all so tight knit at one time. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Too
And
close.
still
Right.
worried about not worrying about having how the world perceives us. You know what I'm saying? We didn't ever want to be looked upon as like we all beefing with each other and shit like that. We were trying to pull each other up. And my guy just so happens to be the first one that to offer me a situation, but it wasn't fully right. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
yeah,
It
sir.
wasn't fully.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Outside of all the music stuff, I understand
What's
you
up?
got some nonprofit organizations out there, brother.
We
Talk
got,
about that.
we got a, I mean, people do. We do drives. We work with homeless. We do all kind of things, man. We
Okay.
do all kind
Okay.
of things. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's all life. You know what I'm saying? And as we get
Okay.
older, we always had a heart. We always had a heart. We were trying to look out for the kids, for
Right.
the elderly. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we do shoe drives, coat drives. We
Co-drives.
do all kind of
Nice.
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
we
what's
do
up.
all kind of stuff. We go sometimes if we have to go talk to people, go in schools, or we did it all. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm not the flashiest guy, so I don't know if I don't have the most craziest stories, but what I do have is real. What I do
Yeah,
offer is real,
son.
whether it be conversation, whether it be, and you could tell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could
That's
tell.
right.
So,
One
so
hand.
all that other stuff is cool. We done did it. We done blew thousands. We done blew bands. We done bought the bars out. We done did all of that. But that's not really who I am. That's not really what I'm pushing. So if that's what you're looking for, it's not really attractive to you. But if you've grown, you got some grades in your beard like us. You trying to get some grades. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat and let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do
Oh
Let's do
man,
it.
yo, to kind of come back around and bring it full circle because we was talking about like, yeah, there's never been a Queensbridge tour, but there was
Yeah,
the QB Finest album. What was it like actually having an opportunity to work on that QB Finest album?
I didn't. I didn't work on it at that time. Me and Nas wasn't really seeing eye to eye or speaking. But like I said, we were all down with the same team. So I always that the songs from the QB album were songs that were already recorded.
Okay.
They were already recorded, and they had access to them. So it was like, you know, go ahead, use it. I recorded it a while ago anyway, but you know, like it's the camaraderie. That QB album was like we all from the hood. Nas got other people from the hood, executive. You know, everybody starting to worry about who's the executive producer, who's getting the points, who's getting the
it.
money,
Right,
who's
right.
running
That's
the
the
show.
language. Yeah,
It just
yeah.
becomes a circus, you know what I'm saying? It becomes a circus. I guess they was just trying to get a little bit of everything at that time. But I didn't comply. I didn't sit in no sessions with that one. That was just like, go ahead, take what I got. You want to use it, use it. And so they used a record that I had pre-recorded with the track masters in the mixtape days when we were just making songs like just for the mixtape purposes, not necessarily to be on no album. Just
Right.
you know what I mean?
Putting some shit together.
Because because the mixtapes was all I gotta do is if I say the DJ's name, he felt that's exclusive for him. He's gonna play it for him. You know what I'm saying? But we had an in-house DJ in Clue. Clue was the guy that no matter what, he's gonna always make sure that I'm on the tapes first or second or
Right.
third, you know what I mean, in those early slots on the tape so that I'm not buried in the bottom of it, so that no matter what, you're forced to hear me. That's when I start realizing that placement matters, and
On that,
you
yeah.
know, yeah, and shit like that. So,
But you was on the bridge. You were on the bridge 2001, right?
I was on the bridge. I was on the bridge because that was supposed to be the single, and who wouldn't want to run with all of these guys on it? They got MC Shan on there, man. They got they got all of us on there, and so even though everybody didn't have a chance to spit full 16s, it was just a vibe. So of course I had to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Or
Talk about playing 2K for 2 days. Then you on GTA.
Yo,
you a whole video game life over there, Nate.
Yo, we was video game heads because we play all the basketball games. You know, we love basketball, we love sports and stuff like that
all day.
But my guys, I was the guy that hung out with all of the hustlers. Like, even though I might necessarily be doing all my guys with the hustlers. And so when the police come and the blocks get hot, we go upstairs, we smoke, play the game, and then the camaraderie again. We start putting money down on the game.
You start beefing, yeah.
It's crazy. You start beefing, and some of the stuff. It's the way that people live now.
Yes, sir.
I felt the need to try to find a way to put that into my music, like to incorporate sports and to choking niggas like Spreewell. I wanted to be the first one to put these in the records. But what happened was, if you put this stuff in a record and it don't drop at the time you need it to drop, it becomes dated. So I made a whole bunch of records that was timestamped with all of these nice raps and facts. But if I don't drop it first, it doesn't have the same sting to it, and then it becomes like, all right, that would have been dope a few months ago. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I tried to I had
strike the iron while it's hot,
and try to not put the year in there, or not find creative ways to talk about certain stuff, because it was a gift and a curse. Because now I'm starting to notice, and everybody else is finding, I'm giving them more things to put in their raps now, because they're like, oh snap, this does work. I don't gotta just talk about selling crack or bang bang all day. Oh snap, we do like sneakers. Oh snap, we do like video games. Oh snap, we do. You know what I mean? And so I'm putting this stuff in the music. I'm finding a way to put this stuff in the music early, and I think people was appreciative of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot is made, I guess, like in terms of like your freestyles and your work with the firm and your stuff with Nas, but also you were on AZ's Pieces of a Man album too, right? I think on Love Is Love.
AZ's Pieces of a Man. Oh man, rest in peace, $500,000.
Yeah, $500,000 was crazy.
Dope. I was just happy to be around guys that just loved it like I did. I come from the era of having the little black Panasonic radios, and I used to stay up with the tape and record the rap attacks and all of the hip hop shows.
Midnight,
and wanted to be the first ones to play the new stuff. I wanted to play the new stuff for my friends who might not have stayed up and listened to it. So I was always intrigued. So I love to be around guys like that. So with AZ and I was just trying to find a way to bond with Nas's other friends. The firm, AZ and Foxy Brown, aren't from Queens. You know what I'm saying? Me, Cormega, Noriega, we all Queens guys, stuff like that. So I was trying to find a way to fit in with the rest of the team and not feel like, it was biased, because they all have rapport with Cormega. They all are Cormega, and so when he's not in the group anymore and you got the new guy in there, they all ride him with Cormega. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, I don't know him. Who is he? Yeah, he can't rap. So I felt like I had a little bit more pressure on myself to kind of like prove to them. So when I got called to do AZ album, I wanted to just let them know that I could rap too.
Yeah, I could burn this shit up. Right.
Yeah. So that's what it was for me. I didn't know the other side, so I'm still I'm a team player. I'm a loyal guy, so I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to my coworkers. They're my coworkers. I'm trying to let them know that I ain't no fluke.
Yeah,
I ain't no fluke.
that's a fact.
You know
That's a
what I'm saying?
fact.
So it was hard. So it was hard because their brother, was no longer in the group. So of course, I'm quite sure I got the short end of the stick when it came down to those conversations behind closed doors.
Just a feeling. You was they treated you like the sub, right? You just a feeling.
I'm public enemy number one. I'm public enemy number one when it comes down to that. You know what I'm saying? So,
But after a while, did you feel like that you were embraced?
no, never.
No.
Hell no.
Just,
Because
you
if it did, things would have transpired after that. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's not like to be disrespectful, or it's not like there's no kind of animosity. It was just that I had to take that hit, and me having to take that hit, it stunted the growth. We weren't able to really grow. We could deal with business right then and there, but then afterwards, we ain't really hanging out. We ain't doing shit. And I don't know where that stems from, because I was trying to be genuine, but it is what it is. I never thought I was fully embraced by them, but I didn't care to be embraced. I just wanted you to respect me.
That's it.
I don't care.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's it, bro.
The firm album. A lot of people have flack for the firm album, like they didn't think it was a good album. I didn't think it was a great album. I thought it was a good album, though. But that's like a platinum selling album, right?
Absolutely, I think so.
Well, that album is supposed to be like a conceptual album of we were supposed to be these young mafiosos. Maybe that didn't set right, but due to the fact that it was just like one big circus. We got the album that's supposed to be Trackmasters / Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, who's never really had to work with anybody other than himself. He did all hit after hit after hit after hit, and then you have Trackmasters making hit after hit after hit after hit. On paper, it looks like it's a sure thing, but it don't always work that way. Like, yo, bro, I like crab legs and I like peanut butter, but I don't eat them together. That don't mean that it's gonna be the best meal. And so
that's right.
And I just, due to the fact that it was contracts, a lot of problems, because we put the firm out on Dre. Dre just started Aftermath, so we put it out on Aftermath, but everybody else except for me was signed to a label already, so they had stipulations as far as how many records they're gonna give another label. You're not gonna give them all, make money for them when you're still signed to us. So if you listen to that album, it's all me. No person appears more than me on that album. So in my eyes, I view the Firm album as my first album, because I'm like on seven songs on there. Only because, not because they love me enough to be on 7 songs. They
but
can't
the politics of
songs.
Yeah.
The label might say, yo, you only could be on 3, or you only could be on 4, and it can't be all singles. We're not gonna get this other label rich, and us, we're not gonna get nothing out of this. No. So the guy that wasn't signed at the time, this guy right here. So this guy right here that didn't have nobody saying how many records he could be on, filled in the gaps,
filling the
all
blanks.
these other records. Yeah. And so if you wasn't really a Nature fan then, or you was a strictly Cormega fan then, you ain't like that. You like, damn, you just let him all over this damn album. Well, who the hell do you think he is? You know what I'm saying? They don't understand that I just did what I had to do. It was
That's it, bro.
That was it. You know what I'm saying?
That's that I heard like some of those records. Well, I may have heard like some of those records on Clue tapes with like other verses where Nas was on. Nas was originally on that record with Cannabis, Cannabis, and AZ.
Yeah, we did Desperados.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, when it came out,
We got a whole album done. Our whole album was done in like 9 days. The whole album from top to bottom. And so we running around just rapping on everything, just trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Put your name out there, yeah.
We rapped on everything, but I wasn't on the first single. First single was called Firm Biz.
Yeah, I remember.
I wasn't on that single, so we had to do a remix. We did the remix with $500,000 and me on it, and just to kind of like keep it up to speed. So they're just trying to find ways to showcase me in the middle of all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm coming from the mixtapes. I'm with the big dogs.
Right.
We're just trying to find a way. You still didn't really see my face too much. You still didn't really get to zoom in on this guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's just a blur in the videos, or he's you know what I mean? They didn't really find a way. If you look at that whole album cover too, if you're fortunate enough to have the album,
you shaded in there.
Pick it up and look at it. Yes. I'm like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so all the photo shoots are by myself. I'm not in none of their photo shoots. I'm by myself way over here. They all together posed up and chilling, and I'm over here. So it was never 100% like embraced in. You know what I mean? It was a business move from the jump. I kind of knew what it was. I'm fortunate enough to have a relationship, at least with the top dog, my guy Nas, you know. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Was there ever any thought when this was going on, like, yo,
I still
like maybe I don't sound to Columbia?
with some of them guys on the west side too.
Oh yeah.
You heard what I said? I said when this was all going on, was there ever a thought that maybe I don't sign with Columbia? Maybe I shop around the other labels?
Nope, because I don't have the right people around me. We all come from the hood. We all have the same relationships. What happens was some of the guys that was around me were around Nas at first, and maybe they fell out. And so now, when you're dealing with nature, you're still dealing with some of the same guys that you're trying to get away from are now with him. You know what I'm saying? So now it's awkward. Now when it's time it's division. It's a little bit. It's not right. You know what I'm saying?
It's a little friction. But
that's
in the air.
beyond me. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it just was like, you know, it didn't make any sense to really do business like that because it was too much personal stuff that's keep getting in the way of us growing the way we're supposed to grow. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I'm not ass kisser anyway, but
nah, son, Savages don't kiss asses, bro.
We from the
hood.
don't kiss asses.
Yeah,
not at
I
all.
mean, yo, it's really no different than really no different than any hood politics. You know how I go. Like, yo, certain people, you know, you like, yo, I'm cool with this person, but I'm not cool with that cat. So don't bring this dude around when you come to see me, or we hanging out. This dude can't be around. So it's just hood. That's just like hood politics.
And he did the right thing.
It's never been like that. It's just never been like that. It's never been like that because, like I said, I'm not walking around and ain't no bad blood. We changed the game, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Gave me opportunities. I made more money than I probably would have made doing anything else. So I have no real reason to be mad. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. And I just wish that I could. I haven't really been in the same space as some of these individuals. So I think physically, if I was in the same room with some of these individuals, you know, I could still, you know, be genuine and still be the person I am. I don't have to badmouth nobody. I don't walk around throwing dirt on nobody's name. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool.
You good money, baby.
And maybe
good
that
money,
part
son.
about it, maybe that part about it makes people upset because they be like, damn, he could still walk around and get respect and still get his point across and still get the love without having to change or without having to, you know, be fake. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I would hate to have
genuine, baby. Authenticity.
I would hate to have monster success and all of this stuff and still not feel like that's who I really am. Like I had to create a character to. I don't walk around in a character. I'm Superman with his cape off. You know what I'm saying? Superman got to take the cape off.
Right.
He's still Superman. He just got the cape off.
Keep your integrity too. You said you was
That
talking
part.
about being in the same room. When is the last time you actually had the opportunity to be in the same room?
Yeah.
Actually
Years.
to interact and years?
Years. A lot of years too.
Or damn.
And I don't think that was just intentional. It was just that's just the way it is. I don't
Nice.
really I don't break my neck to be in the parties or the clubs or whatever. If I'm in there, usually I got something to do in there, whatever. But that's just it.
That's it.
Working. Grown man,
You know?
your new name is gonna be Grown Man Nature. Grown Man Nature.
Next interview you do, I'll make sure I bring that loud packer, bro.
Factory. And so, and with that way, and I keep the good karma around me, we gonna be lit. We gonna be good.
Grown Man Nate, ladies and gentlemen. Grown Man Nate.